Hello and good morning. It's 5th of April today. I did remember to get on. I guess it is Monday, so technically there's not a huge amount of other things for me to do. Today's also day 48, which means tomorrow we're up to 7 weeks. And I think probably tomorrow I'll do another one of those longer form videos discussing things that have come up or come across my mind that I haven't felt like I've had time for with the shorter videos. Because there's a couple of topics that have been popping up recently that I'd like to sort of discuss in a little more detail. At least get the ideas out anyway. Woke up, I had one of those dreams that I kept coming back to when I would wake up from it, and then I would fall asleep again, and I would go right back into the dream, and then I'd wake up, and then I'd go straight back into the same dream, and it was that I was on another drilling rig. I used to work on a drilling rig many years, well, not many, 9 years ago. I worked on a gas drilling rig in Wyoming, and frequently I will have dreams that I'm back working on that rig, and I don't exactly know what it is, but what it feels like in the dream is that I haven't moved on, that I've been unsuccessful in building my career and my experience, and that's what I would have to go back to. Like I would get fired from my job, and then I would end up back on a drilling rig as the only way to sort of make good money. And I think it's a symbol more than anything. It's a symbol for maybe my fear of failure. Something that I've dealt with, and particularly one of the big reasons why I smoked drugs for a long time and played video games too, I think, was that I was afraid of failure. I was terrified of it. For some reason, when I failed in high school and even before that, I associated it very negatively. And it wasn't until I was an adult that I realized that it's okay to fail. What it's not okay to do is fail and then run away. And that was the sort of the thing that I had done for so long. And eventually it got to the point where I was failing anyway, failing in life. But I was smoking marijuana and playing video games, so it didn't matter so much. In my mind, I was kind of insulated from the failure and insulated from feeling bad about the failure. So, excuse me. So, getting up and sort of thinking on that this morning, I wondered what it was that I was worried about failing, how I was feeling about failing. And I have a couple of things coming up. I am going to be studying for a certification in the type of work that I do right now, which is largely in the safety industry and in human resources. And on top of that, I have the books that I'm planning to write, or have been writing, or have written. And those things are big features of my life now. They've sort of replaced video games and marijuana, and I worry, I think, maybe subconsciously, that they're going to be failures, or that I'm going to fail somehow. And the dream, I think, is a representation of that maybe I need to face it. I need to face the fear of failure of those things, because I'm not going to have marijuana to protect me from the negative fallout, and I won't have marijuana to stop those, like to block the awareness of failing out. See, the thing with marijuana and video games too, hand in hand, was that the marijuana on the one side blocked a lot of the information about the world coming to me, and allowed me to just sort of continue making bad decisions without feeling the repercussions. And then the video games were a distraction from that. And so between the two of them, there was always this wall in front of me. And that wall meant that I didn't really ever have to face the consequences of my actions, or my inactions, which was more close to what was going on. It was really more about the fact that this was inaction that was happening. It was me not doing things that I should have been doing, not saving money, not making better decisions about my career, not making better decisions about my relationships. And the problem with that, when you have that wall up, is that the only direction you can go is down, because you're never learning from anything. So you eventually fail in bigger and bigger ways as you go down. But you never face the immediate consequences of it. And then because you understand that you're failing in the back of your mind, it generates more reasons for you to smoke, and more reasons for you, more reasons for you to play video games and distract yourself from what is essentially an ever-increasing cycle, or an ever rapidly speeding up series of decisions that are making your life worse. I talk about momentum a lot with friends of mine, and that creates downward momentum. It means you're essentially spiraling faster and faster towards some kind of big event that's going to be a problem. It could be a health problem, it could be a money problem, it could be a drug overdose if you're doing harder drugs, or it could be a work problem. You know, if you're into video games so much that you start putting off working and just doing video games, eventually your work will suffer and you might get fired. And changing direction, if you imagine running down a hill, changing direction when you're running down a hill is very difficult. I mean, it can be done, but you see like cartoons of people sprinting down hills, and when they have to slow down or stop, they skid and they fall over themselves, and it's a huge deal. And that image, that visual image of the struggle to turn the momentum around is accurate, because it's hard to stop that downward passage, and it's much easier to just keep smoking and keep playing video games and distracting yourself. And I think this is a throwback to that period of time where I had that subconscious warning. It was like, hey, there's a thing here that you need to face up to. There's a thing here that you need to pay attention to. And in the past, I would have just gotten up and smoked and played some video games and, sort of just ignored it. But like I said this morning, it's been dominating my thoughts. I've been actually thinking, what is it that I'm afraid of? What is it that I'm worried about returning to? A job that I wasn't really all that happy doing. I don't know what that is yet. I don't know. I'll probably figure it out over the course of the day. I'll get it written down in the journal. But the important thing is that the brain is giving me these warning signs, and I'm not so fucked up that I can't see what they are and maybe try to use them for some good. So, yeah. Another great example of what it's like to not have that funk over you all the time, and not feel like I have to lean on marijuana to keep me good, to keep me sane, to help me get through the day. If you ever hear anyone say that marijuana helps them get through the day, that person has other issues. Marijuana is just a comforter for them. It's not a fix. It's not a solution. I mean, it is. If you're lazy, if you're the kind of person who's a lazy person, who doesn't want to face your problems and who doesn't want to do the work of figuring out why your life sucks so much that you have to use a drug to get through it, outside of legitimate mental illnesses, of course, then yeah, you're going to be the kind of person that's going to say that. And if you know people like that, understand most likely it's their bad decision making that's got them there. I can speak from experience on that. Anyway, I'm gonna go get some breakfast now, so that'll be it for me. Ka kite.